In the finale of my siblings' romance, the kitchen exchange between ChulHyun and Sesung was filled with subtle cues and emotions that hinted at what could have been. I noticed every move, every smile, every tick and turn that ChulHyun made in that scene, and I felt it in my gut that he'll choose her after watching that scene. But the problem is that it was too late. Sesung and ChulHyun are a match that was perfectly made for each other but somehow missed their chance to connect on the show. In the end, Sesung and JungSub became a final couple. The big question is, are they still together, and did they continue dating in the real world? I will answer that shortly, but first, let's talk about why ChulHyun was so hung up on Gwan, even after going on such a romantic date with Sesung. Let's dive into that. ChulHyun's sister, Choa, advised him to show his best charms to Sesung when they found out they were paired up for the reward dates. For that date, before Sesung won the chicken fight, ChulHyun kept teaching her how to move her legs up and down, and she took her lessons from him seriously. She used the tricks he taught her, which ultimately led to her winning the game. Eventually, they had a great time on the yacht, enjoying the night sky. It was so romantic. They had a good conversation over dinner and a luxurious time in the pool. Sesung caught up with her feelings for him and texted him that night because she felt their magical connection. But my guy effed it up by texting Gwan instead. This move was a major turn-off for Sesung, and it gave her a wake-up call that the only person that really liked her was JungSub, or so she thought. So she had a final conversation with ChulHyun where they both agreed it was a misunderstanding, and she ended up going back to JungSub. So, why was ChulHyun so hung up on Gwan? Here's what I think affected him. First is that he doesn't take a cue really fast, but when he finally realizes what is going on, he sticks to his guns with full focus. Remember when Gwan subtly hinted to him her interest in Jaehyung during their talk at the terrace? She mentioned that Ray were too similar, that she wanted someone who will bring out her cute and happy side, someone different from her. She slightly hinted she didn't want him, saying Jaehyung possessed those qualities she wanted. But ChulHyun didn't get it. He believed he needed a date with Gwan to see if there was a connection between them. Or if she would change her mind. He didn't take the cue. Second is that he felt that Gwan really liked him because of the extra time she requested with him when they first met, and all those times they spent together when they had their first road trip. I think he got hung up on that and thought that Gwan would choose him in the end if he kept choosing her. But Gwan wasn't into him, which he finally realized after their secret date. By the morning of the final selection, ChulHyun's feelings for Sesung were clear. His look said it all. Finally, my guy could see that in the end Sesung is the one that was most connected to him both emotionally and physically. When she complimented his hair in the kitchen, he smiled. He knew he had been choosing wrong all this time. Those eyes showed that he must have thought Sesung must have been his match out of everyone there. They had already sent the messages on whom their final selections were by then, so things were all set at that moment. Which was why he had that look in his eyes. It was also a little mischievous look because he knew he had chosen her as his final selection. It felt like he had that look in his eyes because he finally realized that he liked her. Sesung told him they should stay in touch after the show and he agreed. Then he called her name after glaring at her for a moment, like he had something to say. I think he wanted to show her a hint that he chose her, but stopped himself. She responded to his call, expecting him to say something, then he smiled and said never mind. So he asked her if she had sent her text selection to JungSub, looking a little bothered, then she responded it was a secret and laughed. Sesung was chatting with him freely like a friend, but he was more serious with his conversation. He kept looking at her intently, then said he was able to check everything he was curious about during the secret date, showing he had reached a decision. Then she told him to do whatever his heart chooses. Do you think Sesung got the hint at that point? I think she sort of did. Because after that, they both smiled, staring at each other. That was ChulHyun's way of telling Sesung he was coming to her now that he had confirmed Gwan's feelings, but it was too late, and he knew it. So, he ended the show in his usual carefree style. He chose Sesung as his final choice to show his feelings, but he expressed it as a friend who was thankful for her presence on the show. Let's face it, if he had no feelings for Sesung at all, he wouldn't have chosen her. He would have still picked Gwan as his final selection. Now, do I think Sesung and JungSub are still dating? Honestly, I don't believe their relationship will last in the real world. And maybe that's my bias talking because I'd love to see ChulHyun and Sesung as a couple. I wish Choa had had more time to help him with sorting out his feelings, but she was caught up in her own drama with Yongwoo. If ChulHyun and Sesung get together for real, I'll be so happy. But if they remain close friends, like family, that's fine too. I hope they keep their friendship forever. Just to clarify, I don't dislike JungSub. I actually do like him, but I do not like him for Sesung, because they are not compatible. What do you think about ChulHyun's final decision on the show? Do you think JungSub and Sesung are still dating? Is it possible for Sesung and ChulHyun to date in real life? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more content like this. Bye.